Now, I'm sure we all know that gambling in Hypixel Skyblock is most definitely against TOS, not something that's allowed. But when you actually think about it, there are a ton of different ways that you can actually gamble built into Hypixel Skyblock. At first, I can only think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head. And then when I consulted my Discord server, I realised that that is just not the case. The list is endless. So today, we're going to take a look at potentially every way that you can gamble to potentially make some coins in Hypixel Skyblock, legally. At the end of the day, who wants to sit around for ages just, you know, grinding the game for coins? Might as well just gamble, right? Surely. Guaranteed profit. I'm joking, don't gamble. But if it's Skyblock, yeah, you know. Now, I'm going to go over the most obvious ones first. First, we have the Wheel of Fate, a drop from Kudra. Now, if I drop a Wheel of Fate, I don't use it. I'll sell it, because majority of the time, it's a gamble, but majority of the time, you're not going to make more than you're actually going to make from just selling the Wheel of Fate. What the Wheel of Fate does is rerolls the attributes of an item when combined with an item that has any. In other words, you could potentially buy the cheapest Aurora chestplate off the AH right here with terrible attributes which are breeze and speed, which aren't great on an Aurora chestplate. It'll cost you 800,000 coins. Combine this with a Wheel of Fate, and of course you can reroll the attributes, so these attributes could reroll to anything. Meaning that you could take that 800k chestplate, combine it with a Wheel of Fate, which is 13.5 mil, and potentially make around about 220 mil from rolling a God Roll chestplate. The odds of that are very, very slim, but it's possible, hence why it's a gamble. Is it gambling? Yes. Should you do it? I'd personally say no. But of course some people will. I mean, if you're on Iron Man, then why not? I mean, it's not like you can sell it anyway. Next up, we have literal dice that you can roll. I mean, how much more gambling could you get? If we take, for example, the high-class Archfiend dice. Ability, Try Your Luck. Costs 6.6 million coins to re-roll between a 1 and a 6. If you roll a 6, you earn 100 million coins, but lose the dice. So potentially you could buy this dice for 36 mil, roll it once, and gain 100 mil, meaning that you'll profit, what, about 64 mil. On the other hand, it's RNG, so you could potentially never roll a 6, and just keep losing infinite amount of coins. Once again, if you're on an Iron Man profile, you're in a bit of a sticky situation. Just pray for the best or don't roll it. But just from those 2 initial ways to gamble, Hypixel being something that's against gambling, you know, there's 2 pretty clear examples right there. I mean, fair enough. They've not replaced like one of the NPCs or stuck an NPC in this hut. Named something like the Bookie. You know, they've not gone that hardcore. You know, they've not got a flown casino. They've not got horses racing behind the hut and, you know, someone taking the bets. But at the same time, I mean, it's very similar. I mean, if anything, the dice is even more just a straight-up form of gambling. Anyway, before we go on to anything else, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, it does help out a lot. You should also join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer Slayers and Dungeon carries, so if you need carries, or maybe want to carry and make some coins, then make sure to join the server. Okay, we've still got a lot to get through. How about crafting Crimson Isles items, usually equipment? Majority of the time when you craft a Crimson Isles item, it will basically come preset with a predetermined 2 attributes on there. Meaning that if they're good attributes, then they could sell for more than just the base value, or if they're bad attributes, then they're going to go for lowest bin. As a complete example, take the Gauntlet of Contagion. If you were to craft a Gauntlet of Contagion, the cheapest one on the market is 11 million coins. If you got lucky and rolled a Mana Pool Mana Regeneration Gauntlet of Contagion, then that's 155 million coins. There are people out there that will basically just mass craft Crimson Isles items like this that have attributes on there, hoping for one of them to drop with good attributes, making them a lot of coins. Majority of the time, if they get bad attributes, then they lose coins. So it is literally a complete gamble. How about something as simple as pet crafting? Crafting a pet and hoping for it to be a higher rarity. I mean, I don't really need to elaborate on that much more. If it's a high rarity, make coins. If it's not, then it's a waste of time and you probably lose coins. That's how gambling works. The fact that the odds are stacked against you to get a higher rarity pet means that cat becomes a pretty rich person. Anyway, next up we find ourselves in the end. and heading down over to the Dragon's Nest. If you turn left of the stairs and take the first left again, you'll find yourself at the portal to the Bruiser hideout, but of course if we go further down, we will come to the Dragonic Altar, where you can basically sacrifice items that you get in the end. Now, a lot of people just sacrifice their items anyway, simply for essence. However, some people will actually buy items to try to get good sacrifices. Once again, seems like a bit of a gamble. How about Kismet Feathers? Kismet Feathers cost 1.2 million on the bazaar. You can also buy them from Elizabeth's shop. What a Kismet Feather does is basically lets you re-roll a dungeon chest. Once again, a clear-cut gamble, because what if you re-roll the dungeon chest and there's nothing good in there, like there usually isn't? Yeah, this is definitely gambling. How about those people who spend billions of coins on Inferno minion setups? Fuel them, and fuel them, and fuel them, just waiting for that one good drop. Maybe they drop a Vertex, or maybe they drop an Apex. But the chances of this happening is relatively slim, especially for an Apex, resulting in majority of the time, unless you're lucky, losing coins. Once again, seems like a bit of a gamble. How about rune crafting in its entirety? Apply a new rune, or fuse 2 runes. Add the rune to your provided item, or provide 2 runes to attempt to fuse them. To attempt to fuse them. Attempt. Seems like a bit of a gamble, if you ask me. How about Jerry boxes? I mean, these are just essentially the Skyblock version of a scratch card. There's no other way to put it. Obtained while Mayor Jerry is elected, contains coins, skill XP, and posh Jerry items. Well, it does contain all of those, but what you actually get is subject to RNG, and I guess a little bit of luck. And a bit of gambling too. How about simply completing dragons? Now you might argue, well, bestiary, and that's a fair point, but majority of the people who are doing dragons, it's probably not for bestiary. It's to try to drop one particular drop and one particular drop only, and that being the Ender Dragon pet. And I guess you could probably make this argument for pretty much everything at this point, that anything contains RNG is a gamble. Which isn't true, because things like Slayers, you want to get combat XP, you want to get Slayer XP and level your Slayers up anyway. But bestiary seems like a bit of a weak excuse to do dragons, if I'm being honest. It feels like something that a gambling addict would say, like, oh, you know, I can stop at any time. Oh, I'm only doing this for the bestiary. Oh, we see through your lies, okay? You're gambling, probably. Now, it's hard to make the same argument for something like investing, although it is kind of borderline, but if you make that argument, then it opens a whole other can of worms. But something like Stock of Stonks, where the actual price of it is based off, well, I mean, nothing really. I mean, I guess it is to some extent supply and demand, as it is with everything, but the Stock of Stonks quite literally does nothing. It has a chance of being wiped from the game at any point. Of course, these have gone up in price a lot over the years. However, is it gambling? Let me know in the comments. I can't really decide on this one. Investing in Stock of Stonks, I think, is pretty much just a complete and utter gamble, if I'm being honest. Which I guess kind of does mean it's gambling, but it's just an invest. I don't know. Let me know. I just think it's a big risk. Because who knows, they could just wipe these from the game. There are a lot of other borderline sort of gambling sort of situations. However, I think I've probably covered a lot of them. But for Skyblock being a game that obviously is against gambling, seems like there's quite a lot of maybe gambling going on. But anyway, that is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you have, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.